won a national contract with a major brewing company that helped me travel all over the East Coast. And with Pauline's help, I was able to dress for the occasion. I did a television show back in the 60s for the Department of Social Services, and thanks to Pauline, I was dressed appropriately for that show, which came on every week. Pauline was a real mentor to me. She was able to show me how to conduct myself in the world of fashion, in the world of business, and in the social world. And that was very important for a young woman who was just starting out in a business that wasn't really catered to a person of my height. I was only 5'3.5", and competing against other people who were 5'8". But I had confidence in myself because she gave me a venue to show what I could do, and that really helped me in later years.
Did it help you in your regular life as a person? Did modeling for her help you in any way outside of modeling?
Oh, absolutely. My career became public relations and media relations. And because of the exposure that I had in modeling, in working an audience, in being able to project an image, I was able to carry those skills on into my professional life. And as I said, I did that first television show with the Department of Social Service. I did another regular television show. My last job I had was as public affairs officer for the Park and Planning Commission in Montgomery County. And I did their first cable show that ran about 15 years of my 20 years. And again, because I learned how to project, I learned the presence of stage, I learned how to interact with people. Much of that was really rooted in being able to model.
So how old were you when you stopped modeling?
Well,
You said you started at 17.
I started at 17. I stopped when Pauline stopped. I was doing other fashion shows for other people, but she was my mainstay. And I did one-woman fashion shows when I had this contract with Schaefer Brewing Company. And I've done other fashion shows and commentated. The thing that she threw at me, one day her commentator had a toothache, and Maisie Odell Barbara Ray was the commentator, and I was the model. And when Maisie got this toothache, she could not talk, and so Pauline said, well, we need somebody to talk. So I said, well, I'll just introduce the scenes, and that changed how we presented the clothes, because heretofore, Maisie used to describe each and every outfit down to the buttons and all of that stuff. And I thought, well, people can see what the outfit looks like. Let's talk about where you'll wear it, what you'll do with it, how you'll feel in it. And so, because I had double duty, I would come out at the beginning of the scene, talk about the types of clothes we were having. Maybe it was a sports scene or workday world scene or whatever. And then I would wear my outfit, and then all the other models would come out and wear theirs. And that's how we did it.
Now let me ask you about fashion among African Americans today.
Okay.
What is your view?
I think we are missing what Pauline and Ann Davis, who I introduced in the presentation earlier, I think we're missing what they had to offer. They were the personal shoppers for black women, especially at a time, Pauline and Victorine Adams and another woman by the name of Pearl Dyson, they had shops that we could go to. I can remember my mother going to these things. She was the customer. I was just a tag-along. But we couldn't shop downtown. We couldn't try things on downtown. And so if it weren't for Pauline, many of Baltimore's women wouldn't have been as stylish. People would come in and say, I'm getting ready to go to a Kappa affair. I'm going to a Gosman's dance. I've got a convention that I need to go to. Hook me up. And Pauline would know. And if she didn't have it, she'd say, I can get it for you by Friday. I can get that for you by Tuesday. And so that made the difference. And that we don't have that today.
Right. Well, this is an integration era, you know. So,
it is. It is.
And people are dressing. African Americans are dressing differently. Any comment on their stylings?
Well, you might be well, I think that fortunately or unfortunately, our children have set the style of what everybody else is wearing. If you notice, for instance, the urban wear actually started because these young boys standing on the corner and they needed to be dressed appropriately, and then everybody started picking up that style. I was a little concerned when the young women of that particular generation began to select something that was less than appropriate, if we can say that, for them. But that comes with maturity also, and you have to select a style that works for you. And I think that's something also that Pauline and the other fashion entrepreneurs of her time were able to instill in us. You know, and again, I know what I can and cannot wear. I think others of my generation have locked into that, and that's the part that is very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Is it current? I mean, the new generation, do they show that kind of taste?
I think sometimes they wear stuff that's too small. I think they wear stuff that isn't flattering for their bodies, and our young women's bodies are much bigger at a much younger age than they need to be. But they think they can cram themselves into these things that aren't flattering at all. And when they are able to one day step back from that, I think they'll be able to see that. I have a granddaughter who's 19, and I'm trying to get her to see. It was difficult for her to understand that she no longer could shop in the junior department because her body was no longer junior. She needed to shop in the Mrs. department because of the design and the cut of the clothes. That's not an easy transition for young people, but we just have to work through it.
What do you think of this honor that was demonstrated today for Pauline?
I think that I hope that the staff of the Reginald Lewis Museum gets the point. Pauline Brooks was not the first female entrepreneur to sell clothes.
Right.
What she was the first female entrepreneur to have a shop in a major mall, which is still existing today. And there are many entrepreneurs in these malls that don't last as long as she does, as she did. And then she moved to another smaller mall at the Belvedere.
Right.
But being at Mondawmin, and what Mondawmin stood for was major across the country. And few people know it, but Mondawmin Mall is one of the few malls that has remained in the black for almost as long as it's been open. So I was very happy to be a part of that. What was detrimental was that she was right on a corner of the mall, right next to a door, and so she became easy prey for those who were shoplifting clothes. They could take clothes right out of there and right outside, you know. So that was a little difficult, but it was still a showcase for her fashions nonetheless.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Very